Hi, everybody. This is House Shrink once again, Dr. Mario Martinez, wishing everybody happy holidays. And I'm going to wait till people start coming on so that I can tell you what I'm going to be talking about today. So hang in there, come and join me, and make sure that you follow. And there'll be more to tell. So first, I want to, again, wish you happy holidays, everybody, whatever holidays are for you. And then make sure that you follow here so then you'll know when I'm going to be coming on. Today, I am going to be talking about the law of attraction, why it's so attraction, why it's so attractive, and why it's junk science. So I'm going to teach you how to be a scientist. And I'm going to teach you how to cut through the types of pseudosciences that are sold to you, and that the only one that makes money are the people that write the books. They become famous, they write the books, they make a lot of money, and people get stuck with some junk that is being sold to them. So I am going to be explaining why the law of attraction is so attractive and why is such junk. Doesn't work. It doesn't exist. All the people that talk about it are just rambling on with pseudoscience, what's called junk science. So, if you just joined me, this is Dr. Mario Martinez, the House Shrink at TikToks. And I talk about different topics, and most of it is just to make you aware of the things that are going on, and just to make you a better consumer based on good science. So, what happens with the law of attraction? It says that whatever you think, whatever you see, whatever you wish comes true. And they also warn you that if you see someone who's overweight, then there's a tendency for you to become overweight. I mean, it's amazing. Or that you don't want to look at things that are not what you want to attract. You only want to look at things that you want to attract. That is elephant excretion, to be cautious here with the language. It has nothing to do with attraction. We don't attract anything. So people are attractive, and you attract them because they're you have something to offer. That's different. They talk about some kind of esoteric energy that attracts you to whatever you want. And let me tell you why it doesn't work, but why it's so attractive. The way that we can explain it with good psychology, with good science, is something called selective perception. Selective perception is what really explains what appears to be the law of attraction. So, for example, let's say you want to buy a Ford car. The moment that you want to buy a Ford car, it becomes a salient thing in your brain. It becomes an important thing in your brain. Then your selective perception will see it everywhere you go. Oh, there's a Ford. There's a Ford. You'll see a Ford ad. You say, oh, I'm attracting this. What you're doing is you're putting your perception into a selective mode to look for the Ford or whatever you want to buy. It's not a conscious process. It's not an aware process. So what you do is when you create a selective perception, the probability of something happening goes up. So if you say, I want to get a job at Apple, and you think you're attracting Apple, what will happen is your selective perception will go to anything that will get you a job at Apple. Applying at Apple, looking for ads that need employees, but you're doing it. It's your agency. An agency is your action in whatever you're doing. And sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we forget that agency or action that we take is what really gets us what we want. So forget about the law of attraction and start thinking about your selective perception. If you want something, your perception will become that. Your perception will become that for you to look for it. But there's no such thing. There's no such thing. Imagine if you just sit at home and you attract $1 million. Good luck. When do you think you're going to get it? You don't pay the rent, you get evicted. There's no attraction. But it's written in such a nice way. It's written in such a hopeful way. And people out there are very hopeful. Some people are desperate. They have tried everything in their lives and something doesn't work. And then what happens is that they'll take anything. So again, remember, I'm talking here about the law of attraction and many topics. So what I want you to do is to follow my work here on my channel, but also go to my YouTube channel, Dr. Mario Martinez, where I can have these videos posted, because with TikTok you can't go beyond 5 minutes, but they will let you download them and take them over to another media. So I have over 300 videos. They're free that you can watch on many topics: self-esteem, relationships. But here we're going to be staying with the law of attraction. When they talk about it, it sounds so real. So something's happening. One, you're desperate for something, so you're paying attention to anything, whether it's science or not. Two, it seems to work in a sense of self-fulfilling prophecy. If you have selective perception, you say, I want to buy a Ford, and I want to attract the Ford, what will happen? You start seeing Fords all over the place, and you think, oh, it's got to be the law of attraction. It's your selective perception that is looking for things that your brain says, this is important. It's a very important thing. And then the attribution you give it, the cause that you give it is, oh, okay, there we go. There's the law of attraction. I'm attracting a Ford. Attract the Ford and see if the law of attraction will give you the money to find the Ford. And you're going to find out it doesn't work that way. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask. I'm going to stop here and see if you have any questions about the law of attraction or about selective perception, real science, selective perception, not junk. And I'll try to answer it for you to make you a better consumer, but also to help you get things done in your life, not expect something to happen by you wishing it. For example, affirmations don't work. Affirmations don't work. I'm a good person. I'm a good person. It doesn't work because the brain doesn't work that way. I'm a neuropsychologist, and I can tell you it doesn't work that way. You're saying it and it's just empty. Now, how do you get affirmations to work? You embody them. I'll show you. For example, if you say I'm a good person, you want to be a good person, you don't just say I'm a good person, the affirmation. That's not going to work. What you do is somebody got my book. Great. Which one? The Mind Body Code or the Mind Body Self? They're both bestsellers now. They're doing really, really well, thanks to you. So then what happens is that you create something in your head and you assume, oh, the Mind Body Code. Great. Yeah, that was the first one. Oh, actually the second one. I wrote, this is the second one. The third is the Mind Body Self. So if you do the affirmation, getting back to the affirmation, then you will look at the word that you're saying, whatever affirmation, and as I said, it doesn't work. But if you go back and you say, okay, I am a good person, let me go back in my memory, get yourself relaxed, you breathe softly to get your mind, body ready for the information. I'm a good person. Okay, go back to your memories, your archives of when you did something that made you feel like you're a good person. Bring that memory back, embody it, meaning let it land in your body, let yourself experience it, and then do something good that day that also gives you evidence that you're a good person. Then the affirmation works because you're taking action and you're bringing an embodiment of something that you've already done in your life. Then the brain creates the neural maps that you need, so at some point to begin to feel like you're a good person. Procrastination, that's a really good question. Let me try to explain that. Procrastination has nothing to do with being lazy. It has nothing to do with putting things off just because there's something wrong with you. All it is, and this is the only place where you're going to hear it, procrastination is a fear of not being perfect. You were taught that your decisions weren't that important. You were taught that things had to be perfect, and no matter what you did, it just wasn't perfect enough. So procrastination, what you're doing is you're afraid of being judged. And you wait for conditions just to be perfect to do it, and you put it off, so the weather is this and that. But it's really a fear of being judged. Once you learn that you're not perfect, because perfection is extremely boring, once you learn that, then you'll allow the people to say, hey, this isn't right, this isn't perfect. And gradually, you'll be able to get rid of the procrastination. So it has to do with the fear of being judged by having learned that no matter what you did, it just wasn't good enough. Hey, Mom, I got a B. Well, you could have gotten an A. Hey, Mom, I got an A. Are you going to get an A next time? See, there's never a reward system for what you did. It's always for what you didn't do or what you could do. So be aware of that. Be aware of that. Procrastination, you're not lazy. You're afraid of being judged. And practice being judged with little things. And then think back, how did I learn this? Who taught me that I had to be perfect? Who taught me that my values or my opinions didn't matter? When I spoke, said, no, there's nothing to say, or no, that's not good enough. That's when you learn the fear of not being perfect. And that's what procrastination is. So thank you very much. Am I a Mormon? No, I'm not a Mormon. I don't know what that has to do with it, but narcissistic parents cause it. Yeah, narcissistic parents, sometimes they're so much into themselves and they see themselves as the greatest gift. If they don't get up in the morning, maybe the sun won't come up. So with narcissistic parents, you're not validated. You're not given value for what you do. It's all about them. It's all about their needs. It's all about what you're not doing for them. And they know how to make you feel guilty very well. And they also know how to not reward you very well with validation. This is why you need to find people that validate you. This is what we're trying to do here in this TikTok channel, to create a subculture of wellness. Go to my follow and go to all the videos that I have so you can see that you can be validated. And you can find ways of you feeling worthy of yourself. And self-esteem is extremely important. And it's not going to come from the law of attraction. Okay, any questions? How can we validate ourselves? Well, evidence. The brain needs evidence. Do you think you're valuable? Go back to memories when you did something that was valuable and start doing valuable things. And then your brain, with the evidence and the memory, will create the neural maps that you need to believe that you're valuable. So it has to be done with evidence and memory and evidence. That's how you do it. And you'll see that it works. You have to embody it, which means that you let it be felt in your body. When you feel it in your body, there's a mind-body connection. It's not just up in your head. So you can't talk about it, you have to live it, and you have to do it. And you'll see that it works. I've done it when I was in private practice with many, many patients. I don't call them patients anymore, I call them wellness students. So I'm a clinical psychologist, I'm licensed, but what I do now is I work with people, student teacher, not patient doctor anymore. So I don't look at pathology, I look at the whatever potential the person has to grow. You're welcome. I'm an art therapist, but still have issues. Everybody's got issues. What you want to do is you want to find the right tools. Read my books. Go to my YouTube channel, Dr. Mario Martinez. 300 free videos there with a lot of information. Wellness students, yes, that's what you are. You're all wellness students here. I was in executive sales and the goals, they wanted 150, never enough. Of course, because that's kind of bad sales. I work with Fortune 100 executives and I teach them humanistic sales, which works a lot better. It works a lot better because they're into value, not profit or control. What is an example of a value company? Apple. Apple is the most valued company in the history of business. It's getting close to being valuated at the $3 trillion. That's a hell of a lot of money. Why? They go for value. So those kind of places that want to make you a little pawn and a workhorse, get the hell out, because it'll make you sick. And those companies don't last very well. They last making money, but not keeping people healthy. So people leave or people get sick or it doesn't work very well. Goals can be a moving target. Yes, but you have to look at the goals based on the context. One goal is not for everything. One goal would be for a relationship, another would be for work, so it's contextual. It's a contextual thing that you look for, not just one goal for everything. Doesn't fit all. That's very important. That the world is a contextual world. So it's very important to be aware of that. You're welcome. Any more questions? There's some really good people here asking some great questions and being showing gratitude, which is very nice. So make sure that you follow my work, and if you want to read my books, of course, they're wonderful books. I put a lot of time into them and effort, and they have a lot of techniques at the end of each chapter, the mind-body code, the mind-body self, but also have a lot of free stuff. I have on the YouTube channel, Dr. Mario Martinez, hundreds of videos on all kinds of information. How to not overthink a situation that might have been embarrassing. Well, that has to do with you being afraid of being judged again and looking for that perfectionism. When something happens like that, you can't say, okay, I'm not going to think about it anymore because there's some obsessiveness about it. So you stop, and first you do a one-pointed meditation. One-pointed meditation is you focus on whatever it is. Love, your breathing, one-pointed, and they get the mind to go there. Then, after you do that for a while, you go to the what's called the vipassana part, which is you just observe what's going on. And then the thought will come in, and oh, I didn't do so well, let it come in. Oh, I should have done better, let it come in, let it go out. When you do that, it dissipates, it begins to lose its power because you're not jumping in, you're not judging, you're just observing. You become the observant rather than the what the Buddhists call the monkey mind, jumping from one thing to another. That's what you have to do. You did the best you could, drop it, but you have to drop it with the experiential techniques of mind-body. My 13-year-old struggling in school, he's super smart, but his dad put him down. How can I help him? Well, you can't change his dad the way he puts him down. But one of the things you can do is you can say, when somebody puts you down, without talking about the dad, when somebody puts you down, how do you feel? And when he does, well, I feel this, I feel that. Well, when people do that, they really don't know the value of who you are. They just don't know that. So tell me, what is valuable about you? Get them to think, get them to process themselves, not to tell them how wonderful they are. Use the Socratic method. Socrates taught by asking questions. Asking questions, not by telling them how wonderful you are. How does negative bantering affect mind in relationship? Well, it doesn't make the relationship last very long in a happy way. I mean, you could be together in misery for 30 years. But that negative bantering is, again, it's another way of low self-esteem. If you have good self-esteem, the last thing you want to do is play putting somebody down. Because when you put someone down, it's like besting each other. I'm better than you, then you're better than me. And those are ego games that always end up with negative consequences. And they're not good for your health, by the way. It affects the immune system. It makes you feel helpless, which is not good. Negative causes PTSD? No. PTSD is a very serious thing. It has to come from an accident, something out of order that threatens your life, or something that a major abuse, but not just negative thoughts. That's not going to cause PTSD. How do you not make negative comments to people? Well, you ask them. Let's say you don't like something about them. You don't like the way that they talk to you. Instead of saying, hey, you're an idiot, I don't want you to talk to me this way. That's not going to work. You say, hey, you know something, have you noticed the way that you talk to me? Always Socratic. Have you noticed? No, I haven't noticed. Well, sometimes you say things that might upset me. Have you noticed that? So you get them to be insightful about what they're doing. Some people are idiots and they're not going to get it. But most people will think, yeah, well, like what? And then you give them an example. You said this to me and it hurt me. Were you aware? No, I wasn't. Okay, now you're aware. So this is really good. Thank you for listening to what I had to say. That's how you get things going. Not with a sociopath, not with a narcissist, because that doesn't work. Only with normal people. Only people that care for you, and only people that have some normal psychology. If you do it with sociopaths, forget it. It's like talking to a wall. Okay, if you just join, I started talking about the law of attraction, and I'm talking about everything. The law of attraction being junk, by the way, that has to do with selective perception, which I talked about. So if you have any questions about it, let me know. Why do teenagers give the silent treatment to parents? Power? Well, many reasons. It could be, it's hard to say because it's very individual. But in general, one of the things that I think is going really bad with teenage generation is the ghosting. The ghosting. If you don't like something, you just don't answer it, and you assume that you're saying no, or you don't want him anymore. Ghosting is a lack of self-respect and a lack of courtesy for others. The other thing about teenagers is they don't have a lot of power. They're not children anymore. They're not adults anymore, or they're not adults yet, and then they still have someone telling them what to do. So the only way that they can get you back is by ignoring you or by giving you the silent treatment. It's a passive aggressive way. It's not good, but it's a passive aggressive way because they don't have any other tools. There are other things that could be done, and I'll talk about it in another live session, but that's basically what it is. So that's what I had to say about that. Now, getting back to the law of attraction, any questions? It's junk science. It doesn't exist. It is passive aggressive because that passive aggressiveness comes when you feel that your opponent or the person that you're dealing with is more powerful or has more control over you. Then you passively explain things. Yes, I'll do a live session on teenagers. One thing that helps with teenagers and with anybody, but especially teenagers, is you have to give them choices. Choice gives you a sense of freedom. Freedom equals the amount of choices that you have. So, for example, your teenager says, I want to come home at 1 in the morning. Okay, 1 in the morning, if it's acceptable, then you can say, all right, if you want to come home at 1 in the morning, here are the choices you have. You have to call me at 12 and let me know everything's okay. Or you have to make your room if you want to come at 1 in the morning. And of course, they'll say, most likely, okay, I'll call you at 12. All right, if you do that, you can come at 1. No problems. You don't do it, you don't keep your promise, then we have consequences. But you give choices. People need choices so they can feel agency, so they can feel, oh, I decided this. It wasn't decided for me. So it's very, very important to give options to teenagers, but never an option that you can't live with. You can say, well, when do you want to come home? They'll say 5 o'clock in the morning. Never that. Well, anxiety is about achieving has to do with many things. It has to do with the school system. It has to do with its subjects. But what you want to do is you never want to, let's say you get a report card and they got an A in math and they got a C in Spanish. You never want to say, oh, look, you got an A. This is really good. And you got a C in Spanish. Why don't you work harder on that? Forget it. If you're reinforcing, you have to do what's called an approximation. It's observational kind of getting the person to see. So you can say, hey, you got an A. How did you do it? That was really good. I'm really glad, very proud of it. Never say anything about the low subject because it's not going to help. It's going to kill the reinforcement. So indirectly, what you're teaching them is whatever strategy worked here, maybe I can use it here. So that's really the idea. It's a type of an approximation learning that you're doing. So that's how that works. Okay, any questions? If you just joined, make sure that you follow and that you go to my YouTube channel, Dr. Mario Martinez. It's free. Follow there and like there because that's also a good way for me to get more things up for you to see. So everybody here, hello, and make sure that you follow when you're here because that gives me more opportunities to reach out to you and to give you more ideas of the things that are going on. Teenager obsessed with getting into college. Well, that's good. You want to get into college, but you don't have to be obsessed about it. You can try to spend time in about college. What do you like about this college? What do you like about this? What do you think you need to do? Questions make people think and create strategies in their heads. If you tell them there's no strategy, you're telling them what to do. And teenagers don't like that. Nobody likes that, but teenagers especially, they don't like that. So get into the world with them. And what do you think you need here? How can you do it? I want to get into Harvard. What do you think you're going to need for Harvard? Good grades. Well, how are your grades? That kind of thing. Question without telling them what to do. So let's see. How to stop having an anxious attachment to people. Okay. Attachment theory. One of the things that you want to think about is how did you learn attachment? Always go back to the learning. How did you learn it? Did you have a parent that made you feel uncomfortable, that they were going to leave you at any time, or they were going to betray you at any time, or they were going to shame you? So what happens is that if you were afraid of being left, like you were when you were little or whatever, then you get overly attached to a person. But the other thing you do is you get attached to someone when you think that they're giving you something that you don't have. When they're giving you joy, when they're giving you belongingness, when they're giving you companionship, things that you bring to the relationship. And in my books, I talk about that. This is kind of a complex subject that I talk about, and I clarified in the book, but it basically is that you think you're taking something to that person, and you're not. You're not getting anything from them. You're taking and co-authoring. You're taking your joy. You're taking your belongingness. You're taking your companionship. So then you feel that if that person leaves you, you're nothing. So it's very important to see that. It's a complex subject, but I hope you get it, that it's really a fear of being empty without that person. And you have to ask yourself, what is my emptiness if I'm not with this person? And try to fill it up on your own to see what happens. I have abandonment issues. I abandon. Yes, because if you have abandonment issues, what you have learned is that the intimate language of love is related to abandonment. So you look for the selective perception that I was talking about before. You look for people that you can abandon or people that abandon you. Because you're bad? No, because that's a language that you learned early in life. You learned that love had to be with the 3 archetypal wounds that I talk in my books. Abandonment is one of them, shame, and betrayal. Those are the only 3 ways you can be hurt. So if you tie them into love, then that's what you're going to be looking in relationships. In COVID, I believe we all have become alone and lonely. No, I think you become more aware of your loneliness because you took away all the other kinds of things that were distracting you. And that's good because now you find out what your loneliness is and you find out that you have to become your best friend. So it's really good. COVID helped a lot, and it also helped people see what matters and what doesn't matter. A lot of people are quitting their jobs because they find no meaning in their job. And the only way they found it was when you get something that happens that makes you close to your mortality, you begin to question what matters. And then you begin to question, my job doesn't matter that much. I'm not really getting any joy in my work or any passion. Well, yes. So what you do then is you ask yourself, what matters in my life? What do I need to pursue that has passion, that has meaning, that has valuation? So then the COVID isolation was good. It made you aware of the loneliness that you had that was being covered up with all the external signals out there, or the external noise that was out there. Because if you allow people to treat you poorly, the moment you create boundaries, they don't know because you taught them to be insensitive with you. And the moment that you decide that you don't want them to be insensitive with you anymore, it's like a shock. Wait, what's the matter? You've changed. And here's what you do with assertiveness. You set boundaries is a 2-part, not just setting the boundary. I set the boundary and I give you permission to not like it. And the world will not end if you don't like my permission to not like it. I'm about to start my own business. Good. Make sure that you start your own business that has passion, that has something that you think it has a service to other people, because that's going to make you more creative. That's what Steve Jobs did. He had passion about his work. And look what happened. The most valued company in the history of business. Okay, if you just joined Dr. Mario Martinez, How Shrink, talking about, I started with the law of attraction, but I went all over the place. First, I said that the law of attraction is junk. It's not real science. It's selective perception. Whatever you think you want, you create a selective perception and you'll see it everywhere. And then you think that it's become some kind of a law of attraction. No such thing. Okay, so I'm about ready to leave. And I just wanted to give you some pointers here and ask you to join my channel and go to my YouTube channel also at Dr. Mario Martinez and buy my book if you're interested. They're both bestsellers, The Mind-Body Code, The Mind-Body Self. But the main thing is that you don't want to buy into the law of attraction junk. Look at your selective perception. Look at your agency. Look at how you can. Agency is what you contribute to something. Is your doing is the agency. Look at what you're doing, and you're going to find out that you're a lot more powerful than you think you are. Okay? All right. Enjoy and happy holidays for everybody, and make sure that you value yourself because you are very valuable. Enjoy. Bye-bye.